Well, we finally moved in. Jack didn't help exactly, but I knew straight away we'd be happy here. Still, I made sure by unpacking his Caesar first. Those delicious meaty chunks packed with taste. Jack won't settle for anything less. He really thinks...
Your dad was.
There are some things you really shouldn't share, and some things you definitely should, like cart door ice cream.
Good.
Come on, Mother. Of course, after the wedding night, it was separate beds.
Cart door.
You're going to get me in trouble with the missus.
Over here, yes. Oh, no, the herbs. Take me back.
Oregano, some rosemary. Oh, savoury. Fantastic with chicken. Yeah.
Sainsbury's new fresh herb range now has the widest selection of unusual herbs to satisfy even the most adventurous cooks.
Here we go, boys. Stop. Yeah, what's that? And what is that? That is a big spark.
Sainsbury's, making life taste better.
Welcome back. The main developments so far today. The Canadian government has been accused of deliberately changing specifications to stop Westland Helicopters from winning a £1 billion order.
And protesting farmers have been staging a mock funeral outside MAF's headquarters in Exeter. They claim there'll be a mass cull after the election.
Back to the election, and after months of foot-and-mouth silence, South Molton Cattle Market came back to life last night for a passionate power game election debate. Manfred Roxon looks back on a night dominated by the farming crisis and the NHS.
I've read the manifestos of all three parties, what they have to say about agriculture, and frankly they're a mixture of empty...
How that is done, I do not know, but we've got to put our heads together and come up with a
easy
far
thing to say.
better.
How are you going to do it?
The audience pressed the politicians on transport and the environment, and they turned up the heat when the grilling turned to the health service.
I've actually waited 18 months for a specialist appointment, and I still haven't got a date.
We were told 24 hours to save the health service 4 years ago. It's getting worse and not better.
Well, in Cornwall, for example, when the community hospitals were at threat a year or so ago, it was a Labour government under Frank Dobson actually made sure that they didn't close, and 5 of them are now open that would have closed.
Little sign then of the much vaunted voter apathy in South Molton last night. Manfred Roxon for Westcountry News.
Well, firstly, no.
And with just one day of the campaign left, I'm joined by our political reporter, Sam Joseph. So, Sam, lots of sparks in South Molton tonight, but is there actually apathy across the rest of the region?
It would appear that there is apathy, or at least a fear of apathy. Labour are urging their supporters to not be complacent and not hope that Labour will get into power again, and urging their supporters to go to the polls tomorrow. And, of course, the other parties are hoping that everyone takes up their democratic right and puts their cross in their favoured box tomorrow in the polling booths.
Now, we've had the leaders from the main opposition parties down here a lot. We haven't seen so much, though, of Tony Blair.
Well, a fortnight ago, Tony Blair was in South Dorset, but he hasn't come any further west than that during the campaign. He has sent some of his main people down, but only to constituencies which Labour holds. And, yes, there have been the other visits, and well, most notably, Charles Kennedy has been down here no less than 7 times over the last 4 weeks.
So they presumably are seeing this as a very important battleground for them?
Yes, I mean, at the moment, Lib Dems hold 4 out of the 5 seats in Cornwall, and they're hoping to take the 5th. The Conservatives are also hoping to take back some of the seats that they lost at the last election.
What changes, then, do you think there may be come Friday morning?
Well, Torbay is obviously one of the main fighting grounds that we should be looking at. At the moment, the Lib Dems hold the seat, but with only 12 votes. It's a seat that the Conservatives very much want to win back, and come Friday morning, there'll either be commiserations or celebrations from the Blue Camp. Elsewhere in the region, the Falmouth and Camborne is another interesting seat. Labour won it in 1997, but with a majority of just 5%, and is a seat that all three parties feel that they have a real chance of winning, all three main parties.
One final thing, another big contest tonight on the football field. Could that really make any difference?
Well, it seems that the result between England and Greece this evening might influence voting tomorrow. If there's a feel-good factor, more people might turn out to the polls.
Well, let's hope so. We'll find out all the results, of course, on Friday. Sam, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And following our earlier In Focus report, here's a list of all the candidates standing in South Dorset. And we'll have full election coverage for you here on Carlton West Country. Our first breakdown of the local results from the polls will be at 3 a.m. on Friday morning. And we'll have a special breakfast programme, half an hour of results and analysis at 9:30.
Well, there is one small part of the West Country which is definitely switching from red to blue. A school in Dorset is changing the colour of its uniform after research which shows it may have a calming effect on the pupils. But as Tony Gray reports, the change has aroused a few passions.
It's a colour that stirs deep emotions from passion through to anger. Red, according to recent research, should be used sparingly, especially in a nurturing environment like the classroom. In a bold move, the Board of Governors at Southwell Primary School decided action was needed. So it was out with the red and in with the blue.
Basically, we looked at the blue and the yellow, and blue is an intellectual colour. Different blues can calm the mind and create a nice learning environment. So that was one of the reasons why we opted for the blue. And also paler colours have a more calming effect as well and can stimulate the children, which is what school's all about. Too much red can cause aggression. We just felt that if we could have a more calming environment for the children to be able to learn in, it would have a whole effect over the whole school, really.
But it was like a red rag to a bull for some parents who believed there wasn't enough consultation before the decision was made.
I really don't think that a change of clothing would improve or make matters worse. Decor possibly, yes, but the clothing is nice and bright. People around here love to see. It's easily seen for people on the road as well as a safety factor, and we just feel the change to blue is totally unnecessary.
We feel it's time for us to re-establish our identity here at Southwell, so that we're unique in our own area, and that's why we've opted for the blue and the gold, because nobody else on the island has those colours.
Whatever the research says, the children have definitely got their own views about what they're wearing.
I like the red because it's nice and cheerful, but the thing is with the blue, it attracts the sun, makes you even hotter, so it gets rid of the stains more easier than the red did, and it's real colourful and I like blue.
The final decision on what to wear lies in the hands of the parents and pupils. There was one solution, though, which will keep both the reds and the blues happy.
If we have one side of school blue and the other side red, we can still keep one side of school the same.
And confuse everybody. Now, time for sport. And rising West Country tennis star Lee Charles was in Paris last night to pick up a prestigious award. Charles and James Nelson finished as the world's top junior doubles partnership last week.
Classic. I really like the junkers. That's simple in that white ceramic part, and that has the opposite effect. That holds the moisture in, because junkers likes a lot of water, a lot of moisture.